Bryan Gaiser is an investment advisor representative of Advisory Alpha LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. All opinions expressed by Bryan Gaiser are solely his own opinions and do not reflect the opinions of Advisory Alpha. This recording is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon for investment decisions. Investment advisory and financial planning services offered through Advisory Alpha LLC, a registered investment advisor. Insurance, coaching, and educational services offered through Gaiser Financial Group. Gaiser Financial Group is a separate and unaffiliated entity of Advisory Alpha LLC. While tax and legal services may be discussed in the general course of financial and investment planning, Advisory Alpha does not provide tax or legal services. Please consult with your tax or legal professional prior to making decisions related to these issues. This material is not endorsed or approved by the Social Security Office or any other government agency. An annuity is a long-term financial product designed largely for asset accumulation and retirement needs. All guarantees are backed by the claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. All opinions expressed by externally cited sources are solely their own opinions and do not reflect the opinions of Advisory Alpha. This is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon for investment decisions. The case studies presented reflects the specific circumstances of one client and should not be considered a guarantee that another client or potential client may experience the same or certain level of results. This is for informational purposes only and should not be construed as investment recommendations or solicitation. Names have been changed to protect the anonymity of clients and are not testimonials in nature. Learn, grow, and take charge of your retirement. This is the Wealth Through Wisdom podcast with financial advisor Bryan Gaiser, founder of Gaiser Financial Group.
Something that we have touched on here on this radio program is the conversation around what's going to happen with the Social Security plan here in the States. Because, it's no secret, the Social Security Administration itself has put notices on our Social Security statements about how if nothing changes, if the laws don't change, if the plan doesn't change around Social Security, eventually the program's going to become insolvent. We don't believe, we're not here to fearmonger, of course, Bryan. We don't believe that that's going to happen. Something will change to make sure that it doesn't become insolvent, but changes nonetheless. So let's talk about this interesting story. Social Security's insolvency problem. President Trump has said how much he admires the program that they have in Australia. That country requires that employers fund private accounts for their employees and mandates that employees participate. That money is then invested, and that pension goes to retirees who meet certain income and asset criteria. So they went the investing and means testing route, it sounds like, here in Australia. The program is working there. Would it work here? What are your thoughts? Does it even matter that we have this conversation? Because what we really need to do on an individual basis is figure out how to make up for that income in our own plan.
Yeah, really what it boils down to is right now employers are putting in 7.65, and then the employee is matching it at 7.65. So you're already at 15.3. They put in 12. That little bit of extra, because we put in basically 12.4, it goes towards Social Security. That 3.3 goes to Medicaid, right? Roughly. Okay. 3.3. Mm-hmm. Well, okay, great. Then let's continue to do what we do, but let's invest it instead of put it in treasuries. Treasuries aren't working out well, right? Not for the long term. People are living much longer. That shorter term. We need some long-term mixed with short-term for the investing of the Social Security pot. Mm-hmm. The other thing is, though, it gives us a little security, just to throw this tidbit in there. It is the largest voting bloc. So it's one way or another, it's probably going to be saved, but let's save it where it's intelligent, right, and it can stand on its own instead of save it so we can scarf off of it as politicians instead of really say, hey, that's not our money. That's the people's money. Let's properly manage it. And Australia, in my opinion, does it right. And I don't have a problem. I'd love it if out of that 15.3% I put towards my employees, that 12 of it went into the market for the benefit of them. And I say take it another step forward. And if they add 6% or more to that number, reduce the tax that they'll pay in the future on it.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Now, Social Security can be very tax favorable and make it very tax favorable for those who can't too. I like this additional 12% right here at tax season as well. 12% of your income is not taxable, right? Mm-hmm. With the new rule, if you're 65 or older. So it's 6% for one of the spouses and 6% for the other. So if somebody's 63 and somebody's 65, you're going to get half of that 12. And that's just additional money that's not subject to tax. Right now, it's around $47,000 of your first part of your income is not taxable for folks 65 and older. Once again, I'm not a CPA. I say around. That's why I say those numbers. but I bet you find out that I'm real close. So once again, I'm not a tax preparer, but you need to look at that. And here's something else folks ought to be thinking about. I know we're talking about Social Security. You really ought to be thinking about if you have hey, we don't have to pay any taxes because of that. You might want to start taking some of that IRA and putting it into a Roth too. Just going off course a little bit. But if you qualify for that extra $12,000 of write-off, or even $6,000 with the additional tax write-off and your standard deduction, you might want to think about Roth IRAs, converting part of your IRA to a Roth. That being said, you see what it does? It opens all these doors, Heather, for smart choices. If government sets you up to make smart choices and you don't, my God, then that's on you when you turn 65 or 70 or whatever age, 67 when you retire. They're probably still going to have to push it back a little bit before folks can take it. What group that runs into, I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably going to say, hey, you can't take it at 62 anymore. You got to be 64 and 68 and 70 will be the largest it grows or whatever.
Right.
And that's just kind of where we are. But we're living longer. It probably needs that, to be just quite frank. Most people are working longer too. So, it's just being smart. I think it's intelligent. And they need to do more things with, where there's a pot of money inside of your 401k that you can add an additional, because all this is an annuity. Add an additional annuity inside of your 401k of additional income over and above the Social Security. I just think, the number one thing you want to concentrate on when you retire is income.
Right.
Income and retirement. If you have surplus income and retirement, you can sleep through 2008. You're not worried. It'll come back. Took 4.5, 5 years, but it came back eventually. That was the last major crisis. We've had some bumps along the ways. Somewhere along the line, we'll get bumped around again because we got poor managers. So many of them up there are in Congress that can't even walk across the street, but all of a sudden you expect them to manage this money and this big load without consulting with someone, Yeah. Oh, I don't think it's fair. And then they overpromise and they overspend. And we have a government that I'm talking across the board. So I'm not here to be political, but we do have a government that likes to create their own crises and then solve them. Look what we did for you. We solved this crisis. Yeah, but you created it.
Right.
It's like your kid, didn't show up, didn't go to bed early 3 nights in a row and then goes to bed early. Look, I went to bed early tonight. Yeah, but you were nasty the other 3 days. I know that's a simple way of looking at it. Folks, if you want to get your stuff in order and you want to look at it, how can you enhance your own Social Security? 336-586-5861. Also, our class on the 10th and the 12th of March is a great class because it's about taxes and retirement, and Social Security obviously is going to be part of that conversation. I'll show you how to maximize your income in retirement. That's what we're doing in that class. But not on that class, you can sit down with me personally and have a one-on-one lecture with me. 336-586-5861. Give us a call. Get on my calendar. We have about 5 spots, I think, this week. And I'd be happy to sit down with you, happy to have you come in and explain some of this to you. Maybe you're there. Hey, I just retired. What should I do? Where should I draw my money from? We'll direct that whole conversation around that if that's what's necessary for you right now.
We've opened up 5 spots on Bryan's calendar just for radio listeners today. So give us a call right now if you want to reserve a time to begin the conversation with Bryan. 336-586-5861. Dial up right now. 336-586-5861. Bryan, you're bringing up a lot of points. We talk about what Australia is doing. You talk about how you believe we should do these types of things. You talk about how you believe we should put annuity options in our 401k plans. But for somebody who's listening to you on PTI right now, they're saying, yeah, I agree with that too. But I don't have that. That's not what's happening for me right now. So let's talk a little bit about, what can we do? What are the proactive steps besides, of course, calling you and meeting with you? What do we need to be thinking about that we can do?
If you are working, you are kind of doing that now because, part of your assets go towards Social Security. So it's contributing to the Social Security fund.
Yeah.
So you definitely want to get that stuff straight. You want to understand it, be aware of how the Social Security system works. In the future, the longer you put into your Social Security and your pension run, it's your 35 best years. Well, if you put 35 years of contributing to an instrument that'll turn around and pay you, you'll get a whole lot more out of it, especially if you had it on a growth streak.
Yeah.
And, but really what you can do is sit down and look at your big picture, look at what income sources you have. Hey, Brian, I have 10 rentals. I don't really need Social Security. So if it does go away, I still have those rentals.
Okay.
But how many of those 10 people in those 10 rentals depended on Social Security? Are you going to lose your rentee, the renter that's in
a good
there,
point.
that leasee, if you will? And so there's a lot that's tied into Social Security indirectly as well as directly to you.
Right.
But so you've got to kind of take a step back, take a look at your big picture. That's what we'll do. What I can do for you is we'll look at your big picture and check off the boxes of strategies. What's the strategy for taking your Social Security? What's the strategy of drawing your money down in retirement? What's the strategy for tax in retirement?
Yeah.
Do you even have a strategy for tax? Do you even know enough to have a strategy for tax? Spend less so I don't pay as much in taxes. Yeah, but what if you spend what you want to spend at the least amount of taxes and live the lifestyle you want, so that you're not worried you're going to run out of money? Then you die one day with a bunch of money and you never did what you wanted to do. So, it's about taking care of that list. Would you agree, Heather?
Yeah. Let's
do that bucket list.
Yeah.
Let's do it. But I want you to start now. I want you to, if you come here this week, and that's what I tell people a lot of times, come in and say, I want to hear about one of your bucket strategies. One of your bucket lists that you're going to do within the next couple of months.
Yeah.
And I'm serious when I say that. Try to mark off a couple, 3, 4 a year. Don't wait, because when you're going to die, nobody really knows.
That's right.
I don't know. You don't know. And it's like, make the best of it. And the reason I'm kind of schooled in it, most of the clients are retired.
That's right.
Or about to retire.
That's
so
right.
I'm not dealing with the youngest of folks, but I like that. That's the world I chose to be in. Folks, 336-586-5861, 336-586-5861. Give us a call.
Thanks for listening to the Wealth Through Wisdom podcast. To learn more, visit geiserfinancial.com. Bryan Gaiser is an investment advisor representative of Advisory Alpha LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. All opinions expressed by Bryan Gaiser are solely his own opinions and do not reflect the opinions of Advisory Alpha. This recording is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon for investment decisions. Investment advisory and financial planning services offered through Advisory Alpha LLC, a registered investment advisor. Insurance, coaching, and educational services offered through Gaiser Financial Group. Gaiser Financial Group is a separate and unaffiliated entity of Advisory Alpha LLC. While tax and legal services may be discussed in the general course of financial and investment planning, Advisory Alpha does not provide tax or legal services. Please consult with your tax or legal professional prior to making decisions related to these issues. This material is not endorsed or approved by the Social Security Office or any other government agency. An annuity is a long-term financial product designed largely for asset accumulation and retirement needs. All guarantees are backed by the claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. All opinions expressed by externally cited sources are solely their own opinions and do not reflect the opinions of Advisory Alpha. This is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon for investment decisions. The case studies presented reflects the specific circumstances of one client and should not be considered a guarantee that another client or potential client may experience the same or certain level of results. This is for informational purposes only and should not be construed as investment recommendations or solicitation. Names have been changed to protect the anonymity of clients and are not testimonials in nature.